Delhi's law minister has a past that he first kept hidden and now refuses to acknowledge. Somnath Bharti has the distinction of being named among the world's most notorious spammers. He stands in the dock for being linked to a company that sold domain names for porn sites. Your denials may be arrogantly dismissive, Mr. Bharti, but website registry records in the United States do not lie. Headlines Today's correspondent Ashish Maharishi has been digging hard for the last 3 weeks to take out this Headlines Today exclusive.
बोलूंगा बाद में वहाँ पे ऑफिस में बोलूंगा ये सब सरासर एब्सोल्युटली झूठ है। ठीक है ना, मैं बताऊंगा कुछ तो बताइए। ऐसे नहीं रास्ता नहीं लोग सकते।
Delhi's law minister Somnath Bharti denying charges of being linked to any spamming website. But is he being economical with the truth? A Headlines Today special investigation followed various loose ends. First, in an email to Headlines Today, Somnath Bharti categorically denied being a spammer or that he had anything to do with US-based companies, Topsites and Directories LLC. So why is it that Somnath Bharti's name figures as the administrator of Topsites, then on the Who is Response protocol widely used for internet resource database queries? But Somnath Bharti seems to have had a direct contact with both Topsites and Directories LLC. Records of the Secretary of State of the state of Iowa, USA very clearly show their registered address to be C28 Malviya Nagar, New Delhi 17. Documents in possession of Headlines Today also show that on 30th of March 2004, the name of the company was changed from Topsites LLC to Directories LLC. Somnath Bharti's Indian company, Madgan Solutions too, has the same address. Documents indicate that Directories LLC was dissolved on the 5th of September 2008. But the big question, if Somnath Bharti was not the owner of Topsites, why did he pay $5,000 to make an out-of-court settlement in a case involving the company? This lawsuit was filed against Topsites, Directories LLC and Somnath Bharti by Dan Balsam, a top US lawyer known for suing spammers. So notorious was Topsites that it was listed amongst the top 100 spammers as per the Roxol listing, that is, Register of Known Spam Operations. Somnath Bharti's name figured among 3 Indians for mass spamming. The whole matter was published by a UK-based blogger, Conrad Longmore, who even put up Bharti's business card that mentions his designation as the Topsites CEO. In a 7-point rebuttal Bharti sent to Headlines Today, he clarified that in early 2000, the server of his company, Madgan Solutions Private Limited, was entrusted to an associate who misused it without his consent or knowledge.
Headlines Today got this information that a website named allwebhunt.com, which was operational until at least 2011, had actually been operated from the same address as that of Somnath Bharti. So we tried and checked at least the IP address, and we found that Somnath Bharti's .com, which is the official website of Somnath Bharti, and allwebhunt.com, they both have the same IP address, that is 119.82.71.132. So there is this information that we have been able to join the dots and found out that yes, allwebhunt.com had a very clear relationship with none other than Somnath Bharti. Now the big question is that the cache that we have been able to gather, the old cache, the old records of this website, which actually leads you to porn websites, is it actually true or not? That is a matter of investigation.
With Ashish Maharishi in Delhi, Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
About 2 weeks back, I sent to the Aam Aadmi Party media department an email asking them about the exact connection between Somnath Bharti and Topsites LLC. Ashish Maharishi is now joining us on this broadcast. In that response, Somnath Bharti and the Aam Aadmi Party completely denied any link with Topsites LLC, and they said Somnath Bharti is in no way associated with Topsites LLC. He's never had anything to do with it. He's never had any equity. Then we just went to the registrar of companies in the United States, their equivalent organization. Ashish Maharishi, why don't you take our viewers through what you found?
Well, in fact, Rahul, there are 2-3 things that we have to look at. One is that on the reply that he had sent to you, he very clearly said that he's got nothing to do with Topsides LLC. So we are nailing his lie here.
Yes.
One, if you go to the who is, and you find out who is the owner of the websites, topsides.us, which is actually owned by Topsides LLC, you will find Somnath Bharti's name, whether it is the registrar, the registrant, the administrator, the person who has paid the money for the website, everything, all names are here. Then if you go to the website of the Secretary of the State of the state of Iowa, all you need to do is find out who this company belongs to, and it is very clearly evident. This is the data that we have. It addresses C28 Malviya Nagar.
What is C28 Malviya Nagar?
C28 Malviya Nagar, if you see the Registrar of Companies data, it also mentions Madgin Solutions Private Limited. The office was shifted in October 2004. And this is...
What is Madgin? That's the same company that's owned by Somnath Bharti.
Very true.
Which he declares in his election affidavit, submitted before the Election Commission of India.
Yes.
Topsides LLC is registered at the same address which he continues to hold.
Yes, true. And more importantly, the Topsides name was changed to Directories LLC. There is the article of amendment of Topsides LLC. And in March 2004, the address has been changed. The principal address has been changed from Canada to India.
I want to introduce our other guest at this time. One of the foremost experts on cyber security, Subimal Bhattacharya, is joining us on this broadcast. We've also got tonight Arvind Gupta, he heads the IT cell of the BJP. They've been very charged up socially on the allegations against Somnath Bharti. Madhu Kishwa, editor of Anushi, is joining us, and also Vinod Kumar Bini, the angry young man inside Kejriwal's army. Are you in his army? Are you outside his army? अभी हैं केजरीवाल की पार्टी में कि नहीं?
नहीं, बिल्कुल संवैधानिक तौर पे तो मैं रहूँगा ही, क्योंकि जब तक पार्टी का एमएलए हूँ तो पार्टी का सिपाही हूँ.
I must also tell our viewers that we invited people from the Aam Aadmi Party to join us for this program to give us their perspective. They asked for more time. They haven't come out and responded or agreed to our request to participate in this program. But I must also tell you that we've got a response from them. We've been working on the story for several weeks now, and we've got a response from the media department of the Aam Aadmi Party, where they have categorically denied any link. So apart from everything else, and we'll come to every layer of this scam bit by bit, but first and foremost, the Aam Aadmi Party and Somnath Bharti lied on record, and that now Arvind Gupta has been proven beyond doubt.
See, the point is, I think we should get the users to understand what does spamming involve, what is spamming of emails, and why is it unethical as well as illegal in many parts of the world. The most important thing is that when you spam, you are selling banned substances. You are selling things which are not legal in a country, and you keep sending these messages again and again. Spam actually stands for sending persistent annoying messages, and when you do it repeatedly, you force people to get into to buy things, to to engage in a transaction that is not legal. We today only heard a case where somebody actually came from Odisha all the way to Delhi after getting a lottery winning notification from one of these spammers. This is the kind of spamming that has been happening. It's a known problem, it's a global problem, it's illegal in many parts of the world, and it's unethical. This is what this gentleman has been accused of doing. He's now the law minister of Delhi. The behavior is quite clear. It's a repeat offense, and I actually related to some of the actions that Mr. Bharti did after assuming office in the first few days in Kirki extension.
We'll build on this one by one. Because right now we're focusing on pure facts. We'll come to the opinion later. And I also want to introduce at this time Kamlesh Singh. Kamlesh has been working very closely with Ashish and me on putting the story together. Kamlesh heads our websites, the India Today websites, the Aaj Tak website. Thank you very much for joining us, Kamlesh. But it's not just spamming that our man Somnath Bharti is currently accused of. There is also a very strong porn connection. Let Ashish explain that to our viewers, because this is something that clearly needs to be investigated further. But what is fairly visible, and you've got footprints all over the internet, is that there were porn domain names which was sold by the same company that belongs to Somnath Bharti.
See, Rahul, the concrete evidence that we have, but it certainly needs to be further investigated, is that there is a website called allwebhunt.com. Now, if you see the IP address of allwebhunt.com and somnathbharti.com, it is the same address. Again, now we also have the internal data. One of our sources helped us, and it very clearly says we have a internal data shows he had a partner called Paul Onger. He is no longer his partner, but certainly there is a email address paul@allwebhunts.com, and then if you also trade the whois data, if you try and track that, you will find that it is the same address, 1300 Evans Avenue, San Francisco, California, which is the given address of Topsides LLC. So, there are certain points which certainly raise doubts that obviously he must be also involved in porn, because the moment, the cashier records that we have, it very clearly shows that the moment you click that cashier record, which is the Google cashier record, it shows that it reaches to a sort of a search engine which actually takes you to certain porn websites.
As recently at 2011. Let me just try and explain this to our viewers once, so that we don't get carried away with what we're saying. There is no direct evidence yet to show that Somnath Bharti himself was in the porn business in any way. But what is fairly clearly established is that companies that he owned domain names. That's what they're called, yes. Domain names, which had all sorts of porn connections. Those were basically domain names that he owned, which he wanted to go out and sell to others. Yeah. That is established. I want to bring Kamlesh in. You've been looking very, very closely at all these web caches, the internet history, and you understand this much better than I do. Explain to our viewers why Somnath Bharti's defense that he put out earlier is completely bogus.
See, Somnath Bharti had some connection with Topsides LLC, that is proven.
He denied it. He officially denied it when he sent that response.
No, there is too much of digital footprint for him to deny that. Did he sell those porn domains? We don't know. Nobody knows. He should answer that. But Topsides LLC and some other companies that he had connections with were involved in selling those domain names. One. Second, Topsides LLC, he no longer owns now. Who did he sell it to? For how much money? That nobody knows. That's not declared.
No, but let's look, Madhu Kishwar, at what Somnath Bharti is saying. When he was asked about why is this not part of your election affidavit, he said incorrectly that this is no longer a company that I own. What he denied was any association with the company, which is not true, because the man owned it, he set it up, it was registered in his name, at his address. His excuse so far has been something like Suresh Raina when he got into trouble on Twitter and said, it's my nephew who did it. His excuse is that somebody who was associated with me did this on my behalf. I did not know what my associate in the US was up to. Is that a fair defense?
Let me start by congratulating you and your team, your Headlines Today team, for doing an excellent job. I mean, this is what investigative journalism should look like or act like. The kind of evidence that you are presenting, I don't know how plain denials will do. But they're so used to shoot and scoot, they're so used to singing their own stuti gans, that I don't know if it's going to make the slightest bit of difference to them. I'm sure within no time they will accuse you and the HT team of being propped up by somebody else, the enemies of AAP and all the rest of it. Because the evidence that you're presenting is so strong, and you're doing it very cautiously. I've been hearing every word you say. You don't exceed your brief, you're not making wild charges, unlike AAP. You're being careful, and they really need to answer. And I'm not surprised. You're careful in saying he may or may not have sold all these pornography stuff. But I'm not surprised given the connection, because the first thing he did was to go chase sex rackets.
No, that's being unfair.
I know why.
I don't want to get into a malicious,
it's not malicious.
Character assassination of any sort. We're on pure ethics, we're on law.
The way he behaved, the way he behaved with those Ugandan women, the way he humiliated them. This is mafia operation. This is not how law ministers behave. It was lawless, and in the same way in which these websites and his, the net business he's in, he's acting lawlessly.
Suprimal, I want to look at the larger
business,
issue.
That's lawlessness.
Someone can
his
say
own actions
that
are lawless.
now what is not, it is clearly unethical. In the United States, it's illegal. In India, I spoke to a cyber lawyer who said after the recent amendments in the IT Act, it's illegal in India as well.
From 2000, when we had the IT
However,
Act,
Somnath Bharti can argue that when I did it, it was in a grey area. Unethical, no doubt, but in a grey area. I was a lawyer. This is a scam that many people have been part of. And let me just give our viewers a brief sense of what happened.
He did his law after the scam broke out.
Okay, no, but the point is that several people have taken franchisees, as it were, of this spamming operation just to make money on the side. Does it in any way impact what he's doing as a minister?
let me tell you, the IT Act, the Information Technology Act was passed in 2000. Even then, spamming is factored in under Section 66. Well, when we had the amendment in 2008, we went to 66A, B, C, D, E, F, all those kind of things. But legally, we covered spamming even then. So the argument that, he did something in 2003, 2004, hence it was a gray area, that just doesn't hold. Now, having said so, as a minister, as you have put the question, as a minister, I'm sure definitely, this kind of tendencies don't really sell well, because you came on a premise where you tried to prove that you guys were all absolutely clean. You tried to set across a message that
everything
around you was clean, but you were a lawbreaker even before you
but let me ask this question. Yes,
I want to come in for a
Mr.
minute. No, I want to come in for a minute. See, even if, for example, in India, pornography were not illegal, but it's hardly the most respectable way to earn a living. Even in countries like Sweden, where it is legal, it's not considered a particularly respectable way to earn a living. The point is that if you go for the lowest forms of earning a living or making your big buck, then you cannot claim that high moral ground that AAP has been claiming, and you will find this happening with many others also.
But let me ask Mr. Bini this question.
That will give us the biggest scams ever.
आम आदमी पार्टी ने कहा कि सोमनाथ भारती का टॉप साइट्स एलएलसी से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. आज की स्टोरी ने वो एस्टैब्लिश कर दिया कि वो तो सरासर झूठ था. ये कंपनी उनके घर पे रजिस्टर्ड है, अमेरिका की रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज ने साबित कर दिया. क्या आपको लगता है कि ये झूठ के आधार पे सोमनाथ भारती का फौरन इस्तीफा होना चाहिए?
देखो, मैं बता दूं कि राहुल जी, आप भी झूठे हैं. जितने लोग बैठे हैं ये सारे लोग झूठे हैं.
हम क्यों झूठे हैं?
हेडलाइन टुडे झूठा है, इस सारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री, गृह मंत्री, एलजी, सारे लोग झूठे हैं. जब तक इन पेपरों को आप केजरी भाई से, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी से सर्टिफाई नहीं कराओगे, जब तक उनसे पूछ के पुष्टि नहीं करोगे, जब तक इस देश में कुछ भी ठीक नहीं है.
न खाता न बही, जो केजरीवाल कहे वो सही.
इस बात को पुष्टि नहीं कर देंगे जब तक इस बात का कोई आधार नहीं है.
मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली,
वो इस बात को मानने वाले नहीं है, वो इस बात को कुछ नहीं मानने वाले. लेकिन वो सारी बातें वास्तविकता है, जितना पेपर दिखता है, जितने डॉक्यूमेंट्स दिखते हैं, ये सब सच्चाई है. ये पूरे देश को गुमराह कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, पर मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछता हूँ. सवाल ये है कि क्या ये जो किया सोमनाथ भारती ने, ये एमएलए बनने से पहले किया, क्या उसका कोई बेरिंग है, कोई इम्पैक्ट है आज जब वो मंत्री बने हुए हैं? क्योंकि ये युगैंडन विमेन के केस से लिंक नहीं, ये तो उन्होंने जो पीछे बीती जिंदगी में जो किया उससे लिंक्ड है. क्या आपको लगता है कि चूंकि उन्होंने नैतिकता को आधार बनाया है, इस वजह से जो पहले किया उसका भी बेरिंग है आज की पॉलिटिक्स पर?
नहीं, बिल्कुल. आदमी जो पिछले दिनों जो किया होता है वो तो हमेशा होता ही है, और इसी आधार पे आपको टिकट भी मिला कि आपने जो पिछले दिनों किया, उसी सब चीज़ें चेक करने के बाद आपको यहाँ लाया गया. आपकी पिछला बैकग्राउंड चेक किया गया. यही तो आम आदमी पार्टी ने सब लोगों को बोला कि हम आपका पिछला अतीत चेक कर रहे हैं कि आपने पीछे क्या किया है, आप क्या कर रहे हैं. तो आपने पीछे जो किया है उस हिसाब पर तो आपको मिनिस्टर नहीं होना चाहिए, एमएलए नहीं होना चाहिए, कुछ भी नहीं होना चाहिए. अरविंद जी की पूरी टीम ने आपकी पूरी जाँच की है, उनके पूरे सब लोगों ने आपकी जाँच करने के बाद यहाँ बिठाया. तो आप कैसे?
No, but the one thing, Kamlesh, that people seem to have forgotten,
I think it's a very important point that Biniji is making, is that there is due diligence has not been done, or if it is done, then why is Mr. Kejriwal shielding Somnath Bharti?
No, because the one thing that Somnath Bharti seems to have forgotten is that digital footprints are almost impossible to erase. And he's tried and explained that to our viewers, to try and erase these digital footprints recently. And you are pointing out to me several instances of attempts being made to wipe out the Somnath Bharti.
Yes, one of the things that I noticed was his company that he claims to own, he owns, he accepts, he has in his affidavit, Adjin Solutions. the company's website now does not have an India address. It has a US address.
Buffalo address.
Buffalo, New York address, where his friend or formerly partner, I think Paul Ongar and his wife Namrata used to live. That apart, that's in the past. But currently, India address has been removed. Why? Because the India address is the same Malvi Nagar address.
But he admits in his election commission affidavit that he owns that company.
Spamming
He's
site.
not denying
He holds
that.
96%.
You know, there's another thing that must be investigated, and that is who Somnath Bharti sold top sites to. What percentage of equity did he hold? If this company is registered at his address, and it needs to be investigated, and I'm being very upfront over here, we don't have answers for what percentage of equity was owned by Somnath Bharti, if at all. But the fact is, the company was registered at his address, that he cannot dispute. Can he say that somebody else registered this company at my address and I didn't know? Suresh Raina's nephew, part 2?
See, they have, as Binayji said, they have excuses and reasons for everything that is against them. When the evidence of the instance of tampering of evidence came out, the judge was wrong. Today the LG is wrong, the president may be wrong tomorrow. So I think there is a systematic behavior over here of denying anything that does not suit them.
Here, Rahul, more importantly, if you have to see that if there was business, did he bring it to the notice of Indian authorities? This company must be doing some business, top sites,
that's a very
LLC.
valid point.
No, because there are media reports that it was sold for a value of 9 crore rupees.
We have some evidence.
We're saying that we're not sure.
So
the company was sold.
go?
No, one second.
No.
And I must state this once again. So there's no defamation involved in any way. That company was sold for 9 crores. That company was registered at the address of Somnath Bharti. Whether Somnath himself benefited from that sale or not is not established.
It was not a proper sale. We don't have that documentary evidence. It is on record. We are saying that we don't have a documentary evidence. But if this company did some business, it sold some domain, it also did some spamming business, whatever business it did it bring it to the notice of the Indian authorities? Because if you have to do a business abroad, there is an RBI regulation, you have to take permission, and if you don't take permission, it's a FEMA violation. It's a very clear-cut FEMA violation. So, to my understanding, if he is denied it on the first place that he doesn't own it, so obviously he would have not also brought it to the notice of the Indian authorities.
No, but let me just
and
for
it was
a moment.
Not 9 crores.
Which he never
The
did.
company claimed to have to do a business about $1.8 million every year, and the price that it was put for auction was $9 million, which is, I think, more than 9 crores.
Sure. No, but
I want to make a point here,
yes,
which I think is very important, that all this information has been in public domain for very long. 2005, there was Indian articles, forget American articles. You know, there is a project called the Spam House Project, which actually now in Delhi has a dubious distinction of having one of the top spammers in the world living in Delhi now. All these things have been revealing this. Where is the famed due diligence that Mr. Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party talked about? And I don't see that thing happening. I mean, and now that there is some evidence, and a lot of evidence.
No, but there can be a defense. And let me, since there's no one from the Aam Aadmi Party and we want to be fair on our program tonight, there is a defense which can be given. That how do I know I stay, for example, in Nizamuddin? If somebody registers a company at my residential address, how can I be blamed for it? Maybe I didn't do it. Is that possible?
Why would you do an out-of-court settlement? Why would you do an out-of-court settlement and pay from a wire transfer?
No, because Somnath Bharti's defense, and I must just explain to our viewers what happened, is that one of the world's most famous lawyers when it comes to anti-spamming cases took Somnath Bharti and this company to court. And Somnath Bharti at that time preferred to settle out of court. But his defense was that is because it is cheaper to settle out of court than to fight that case. And it doesn't mean that I accepted the charges that I was involved in this spamming operation, but it was cheaper to settle out of court. Subiman.
So you know, what does that imply? You know, someone, if he sensed that, you know, it was happening, someone was playing or some associate was playing with his name, did he ever go and register a case? He never protested. Only now when he has been caught, he is trying to give all this kind of argument. And
very valid.
Since you try to take a position of high moral ground, I think, you know, you must be perfectly right. You are not right. And currently I am aware that the CERT of the Department of Electronics and IT has already started an investigation into this whole matter.
Into which matter?
Into this whole issue of
I'm just being told by our producers that Somnath Bharti has tweeted. I want to get you what he's saying. He's essentially saying we didn't give him enough time. to come back with a response. And he's also saying that the story is malicious, it's defamatory, which it is not. His argument is incorrect for the reason that he's already given us his defense. He's already told us what his defense is, and that defense itself is being demolished by the story that's being put out tonight, Kamlesh.
I think the registration documents are clear enough position about where it stands. So, all his positions just doesn't hold water.
And you're also asking him for explanations about his business, not about Mars mission, that he needed time to prepare. And all this has been in the public domain, so he should have answers pit-pat ready. And I mean, they were never camera shy before. Suddenly, the moment charges are being leveled at them.
But there is a big difference. There's a big difference between when charges, Biniji, are leveled by Kejriwal and gang against somebody else. That time it is accepted to be the gospel truth कि केजरीवाल ने बोल दिया तो ये चार्ज तो सही है ही, नेता भी भ्रष्ट हैं, पत्रकार भी भ्रष्ट हैं, कंपनियां तो भ्रष्ट ही हैं, लेकिन अगर उन पे आरोप लग जाए तब तो कुछ भी आप दिखा दो, आप अमेरिका की कंपनी की रजिस्ट्री दिखा दो कि ये देखिए आपके एड्रेस पे लिस्टेड है, फिर भी कोई ना कोई बहाना खोज देंगे नहीं मानने के लिए।
मैं मानने वाला नहीं हूँ, कुछ भी दिखाते रहिए क्योंकि जिस आदमी ने मानना ही नहीं है उसको सिर्फ आरोप ही लगाने। आप कुछ भी बोलो आप पे आरोप लगाएगा, किसी बात का उन्होंने जवाब नहीं देना आपको। आप कुछ भी आरोप लगाएंगे उसका जवाब नहीं आएगा, आप पे एक आरोप और लग के दूसरी तरफ से आरोप आएगा। वो आदमी जवाब दे ही नहीं सकता है। वो हमेशा चीज़ों लोगों को गुमराह करने में इसमें बहुत माहिर हैं सब लोग, और वो अपने लोगों को ऐसे बचाते हैं, पता नहीं दोहरी नीति क्यों।
आप तो उस पार्टी में रहे हो, अभी भी हो, आपके हिसाब से क्यों बचा रहे हैं?
देखो, एक नीति है, उनको एक मकसद है कि हमें दिल्ली की सत्ता चाहिए, हमें पूरे देश की सत्ता चाहिए, वो कैसे मिलेगी, ये उनकी प्राथमिकता है।
नहीं, क्योंकि आप पे चार्ज लगता है कि आप ये सब इसलिए बोलते हो क्योंकि आपको मंत्री नहीं बनाया।
मैंने तो बोला जब भी आप उनसे सवाल करोगे तो वो चार्ज लगाएंगे, आप भी कुछ बोलोगे तो आप पे भी चार्ज लगने वाला है।
हम पे तो बराबर से चार्ज लगते हैं। कांग्रेस भी नाखुश है, बीजेपी भी नाखुश है, आम आदमी पार्टी भी नाखुश है। अगर एक पार्टी खुश हो जाए, बाकी दो नाखुश हो जाए, तब मुझे तकलीफ है। अगर तीनों बराबर से नाखुश है तब मुझे कोई तकलीफ नहीं।
I have a theory on that, and I think I have a point to raise. That is that because the amount of spamming of mails that the Aam Aadmi Party did last year in the run-up to the elections, that they owe something to Mr. Bharti, that they are all coming out in his defense. I just fail to understand.
Deepak Amin, representing the Congress Party, is joining us on our program tonight. Mr. Amin, I want your sense on the story that's been put out. You've seen headlines today very clearly establish that regardless of what Somnath Bharti is saying, Topsides LLC is registered at his residence. You check online on who is the administrator, who finances it, who got it listed. You've got Somnath Bharti's name all over the place. Do you think it is important now for Kejriwal to at least order a probe? Take these documents, order a probe, and then act against Somnath Bharti, because he said, show me the proof I lack. We've shown him the proof tonight.
Rahul, the investigative journalism that you have done clearly establishes prima facie enough evidence that a formal probe should be ordered, and this is something that the Congress Party certainly wants. We want this thing to be probed thoroughly, and the law must take its course. And I want to add that this case, I've been listening to some parts of this discussion, but this case is very similar to what was discovered by the Caravan magazine about Swami Asimanand. Prima facie, there are very serious charges, there are serious allegations, and they must be probed.
Must be proved, they must be investigated, but there's a problem in the investigation also. You know, we've seen that they tried to set up an internal Lokpal, Justice Shah ran away. So this is the problem that the Aam Aadmi Party is now facing, that every charge that they level against someone else is gospel. Any charge leveled against them is malicious, motivated and paid for by someone.
No, but I also want to take up issue with the Congress spokesperson. Suddenly, he must appear so balanced, so correct. Suddenly he raises Asimanand.
No, let's not go down the Asima road.
To
because
put it
the problem
at
is that
I'm
will
sorry.
be another debate.
No,
we were the first channel to put that out long before anybody put that story out. We were the first channel to take that out.
With the evidence you brought, with what Caravan has done, I'm sorry it's not done. Because he is in CBI custody. Had he given a statement to CBI, we would have taken it very...
Okay, I mean, you made that point. Let's leave it there.
I'm saying,
I don't want this discussion to go completely off track. No, we'll be arguing about Asimanand 30 minutes later and Somnath Bharti.
There is one evidence which directly gives some hint at his porn angle. There is a website called, there's a domain name in fact, not website, teens-boy.net. It has been, this is the evidence that our viewers can see,
that this has been booked by none other than Somnath Bharti, and it was booked on 26/11/2005. So
Just show that to me.
This is
Let me see
the
if I
direct
can
evidence
read that out to
which
you.
he cannot deny.
There are three parameters: administrative contact, Somnath Bharti; technical contact, Somnath Bharti, and it's got the address for San Francisco. Now this is, and you've got over here at the end the address, which is C28 Malviya Nagar, which is where Matt Jain is listed, which Somnath Bharti accepts as his company. Now unless there's someone who's doing all of this to bring Somnath Bharti down, which is what Somnath Bharti said in his defense, that I in good faith gave all these, allowed an associate in the US to run my business. He did things I didn't want him to, and I didn't know about. Is that an acceptable defense?
No, I don't think.
Why not?
It doesn't hold water, because this registration of websites that happen, you listed all those three things. These are very credible domain names, going on for years and all, and those records don't change. So, he cannot come and, tomorrow say that I didn't do it, somebody else did. And secondly, the source of the payment while registering the particular domain, I'm not sure if Ashish has any clue on that, how the payment was made for the domain. But that itself could be another.
If you see the Whois records, the payment has been made by Somnath Bharti. The name.
Okay, I want to go across to Somnath Bharti's residence. Joining us from there tonight is Pankaj Upadhyay. We've been trying very hard to get across to Somnath Bharti, but he's refusing. Pankaj, why don't you tell our viewers what efforts you've made? Is Somnath Bharti watching this broadcast? What does he have to say?
Rahul, we are on the second floor right now in the Malviya Nagar, at the very place where Mr. Bharti resides. And I'll try again. For over an hour, I've been at this place trying to get to know about the whereabouts of Mr. Bharti. But the security guard clearly says that the minister is not here. He says the minister comes only late in the night time. He points out that the meeting hours is only between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning hours. And this is exactly the place where he stays. Security guard says he's not here. Bharti ji nahi hai is waqt ghar pe?
सर अभी तक नहीं आए।
कहाँ गए हैं?
सचिवालय।
कब तक आएंगे?
ये तो पता नहीं सर।
कुछ बताया आपको?
नहीं सर।
Rahul, just next to this residence is this office? Is this office? And even this is wearing a very vacant look right now. One of the office bearers here was telling us that since the minister is not here, none of the officers, the office bearers are also here. But then the big question that we are asking the Aam Janta about the Aam Aadmi Party leader is, what about the credibility plank on which Arvind Kejriwal and his party men were swaying the emotions of the Aam Janta? Is it true that the law minister was himself the lawbreaker indulging in illegal activities? And let us remember, we've been trying for so long. Neither is Mr. Bharti coming out clean and talking to us. Neither is Arvind Kejriwal coming out. Neither of his ministers are coming out in the open. So now, the big credibility plank which Aam Aadmi Party was playing for so long, the party itself stands exposed now. High time that they come out and explain as far as this particular issue is concerned. I am just outside his house. The security guard clearly says he is not here. We are going to wait till late night time and let's see what the minister has to say, if at all he is not inside and is outside, as the security guard says. Rahul.
From our cameras, he lied to us on record. He said he's got nothing to do with this firm. We've proven that his footprints are all over. And I just want to show our viewers, I don't know if you can see this, if our camera person can just bring it in. This is the visiting card, a printout we've taken of an online visiting card of Top Sites LLC. If you see in the corner there, it lists here, this one. It lists Somnath Bharti as the CEO of this company. Somnath Bharti, CEO Top Sites. That's a visiting card of the internet and it's registered in his address. He's the administrator, he's the financier. The footprints are just way too much, Subimal. You know, he's got some explanation, some denial for certain aspects, but it all can't just be a coincidence, or can it?
I have only one point also. Subimal, if I can take the moment, that this thing, and as Subimal himself mentioned, that has been out there since November 2005. I have not seen a public denial of this. There has been no counter cases if he was innocent in this. Suddenly when this, people think and they wish away all these digital footprints, they don't go away so easily. The internet has the elephant's memory. And it has come out to haunt him now. Right? So
I want to go across to Dr. Maninder Singh. Yes, go on.
One more evidence. This is a company called Media LLC. LLC in US means Limited Liability Company. Again, the address here is C28 Malviya Nagar. This is the evidence.
What did this company do?
This again, if you go through, there are many domain names. When you do the who is search, you will find it that it leads to C28 and the same man.
I want to introduce two experts on our broadcast tonight. Prashanto Roy is one of the best known digital journalists in our country. He's been writing extensively about Somnath Bharti being one of the world's most notorious spammers for several years now, long before mainstream media caught on to the story. He's the one who unearthed this. Also with us at this time is Dr. Maninder Singh. He's one of the country's top experts on cyber crime, teaches at Thapar University, has been working with us in putting the story out tonight. Thank you very much, Dr. Singh. But I first want to go across to Prashanto Roy to explain to our viewers the Topsides LLC scam. Why is this not just an isolated incident, but part of a massive global spamming racket, which is amongst the world's most notorious? Prashanto, welcome.
Yeah, hi, Rahul. So, when we did the story in 2005 in PC Quest, we turned up something interesting here, because Topsides LLC, see, this is beyond spam. We first approached it as a spam issue. But finally, what we realized is that this is way beyond spam. This is scam, as in S-C-A-M.
Why?
Because Topsides was essentially a scam site, which what it would do is it would gather hundreds and thousands of web directory details and webmaster details from some public domain resource called the Open Directory Project. And then it would approach them and say that, look, we are listing you in one of the world's top search engines and directories, and you need to be here. And to be here, you need to pay up. Now, this is like the Nigerian 419 phishing scam.
Absolutely,
if you send out millions of them, then a few people respond. So about 1 to 2% of these webmasters responded with money. So Topsides apparently was turning in $1.8 million a year around the 2005 timeframe. And this was a scam.
So looked at all the subsequent revelations, you've seen the denial from Somnath Bharti, and then you're seeing what Ashish Mehrishi has dug out for our viewers tonight. How conclusive do you think the case against Somnath Bharti is? Because so far, he's denied having anything to do with Topsides LLC. He says somebody published bogus visiting cards. That's not me at all. What are you making of his defense in relation especially to the facts that have been put out tonight?
No, this is, the evidence is very concrete. It's not circumstantial even, because in August 2005, the interesting thing was we met Mr. Bharti, and when we spoke to him and we asked him about this, he didn't deny that he was connected with them, but he said that this was just some story put out by Conrad Longmore. Now, interestingly, we had not heard of Conrad Longmore except from Mr. Bharti, and then we went to Conrad Longmore and we found the stuff that he has put out. So all the admin contacts, tech contacts, etc., the visiting card, all this adds up to very conclusive evidence. Very clearly, Mr. Bharti was running this company, Topsides LLC.
On the basis of his denial, given also the unethical dimensions to the operation that he ran, the illegality, especially in the United States, also now in India, do you think Somnath Bharti should step down, or do you think Kejriwal should force this man to step down, Prashanto?
Yes, I do believe so. I mean, it's unrelated to this that I believe in the concept of the Aam Aadmi Party, but I think they've got into an eclectic, diverse range of people. And in this case, Mr. Bharti definitely, I mean, his background does cast a shadow on what he's trying to do and the fact that he's law minister, because this background involves not just spamming, which some people might write off and say, that's okay, it's minor stuff, but a scam and a possible link not confirmed to those porn sites. So I don't think he has the moral, the credibility to continue in the job that he's supposed to be doing.
He definitely was amongst the world's most notorious spammers, also possibly involved in a porn operation. Those are dimensions that need to be investigated. Ijaz Amin works with the Aam Aadmi Party. He's not an official representative for the party. No official representative is joining us tonight. But Mr. Amin, I want your sense on the charges that have been leveled against Somnath Bharti. Will Kejriwal act now? Can he be expected to act now? He asked for proof. The proof has been laid out into the public domain, Mr. Amin.
Rahul ji, in the past, Bharti ji has said the server was misused by one of his associate.
Yes.
So there is no question for discussing again and again. And as we have seen in the past, the terrorists use the Wi-Fi network and criminally use the document other for personal work, and committed the crimes. So many times he said I have nothing to do with that.
No, but there is a difference. The facts that we have go back at least till 2011. What Somnath Bharti is saying is in context of a case that was lodged against him in the United States, where he arrived at an out-of-court settlement, where he was accused of running this massive operation, spamming operation, and he settled out of court. That was in 2004. His footprints are all over the internet, and if you want, I can give you and you can give to Mr. Kejriwal these documents. Please take them from me. These documents are for 2011, and all of them have exactly the same things listed, sir.
And in 2005, Mr. Bharti
Amin
was not in public space.
Mr. Amin, you must answer.
Get after him?
Actually, I have never seen the document. It's a matter of investigation, so wait and watch for that. But I think this is totally fabricated, because he's not involved. The many times he has said
what is fabricated? One second, Mr. Amin. What is fabricated? I didn't sit in our studios printing these documents out. These are from the US Registrar of Companies. This is from the body that is equivalent.
We have seen the Mumbai terrorists use the Wi-Fi network.
No, Mr. Amin, what is fabricated? One second, I take offense to this. These are documents from the United States that have Somnath Bharti's name listed, that have his address listed. For heaven's sakes, what is fabricated? How do you know it's fabricated without even seeing the documents? It's absurd what you're saying tonight.
Why is he settling it?
And my question is, in 2005 till even 2011, was Mr. Bharti in public space that somebody would go out all the way, any political party?
He must answer. Ijaz Amin, I'm not satisfied in the least with your answer. How can you say these are fabricated documents? You haven't even seen them.
So actually we'll have to investigate the documents, because he has seen somebody has misused.
No, one second. Now you're changing your stance. First, you accused us of putting out fabricated documents in the story.
Fabricated.
I told you that's not possible, because these are from the US Registrar of Companies.
We have seen the media
is all over the internet.
That time it was a real issue of the operation.
High moral standards, Ijaz Amin. Now you must live up to those standards. People voted the
media diverted the issue. It was an issue of prostitution, but diverted. And
don't go on a one-way monologue, Ijaz Amin. I want to understand from you, especially in the context of the Aam Aadmi Party setting up such high standards for others. You know, that is the context in which this story is so important. If it were happening in some other party, maybe, maybe not. Would we have put it on center stage? It's happening in this fashion because you've set high moral standards, and now you've got a man Kejriwal is protecting. Why?
Rahul, I'm telling you, it's a matter of Rahul, I'm telling you again, it's a matter of investigation. As we have seen in the Khirki extension issue, it was a real and a prostitution issue.
Okay, so are you prepared to say, Mr. Amin, are you prepared to say, let the police book a case against Somnath Bharti? We're just being told by Subimal that an IT department cert investigation is already beginning into this case. Are you prepared to tell Mr. Bassi, the Delhi Police Commissioner, get your people to book an FIR against Bharti, investigate it?
So if you have a proof for that, why don't you register and make a complaint?
No, why should I do it? Kejriwal is the one setting high moral standards. It's his responsibility. If he's got a man in his cabinet with such serious charges against him, Kejriwal is the one who needs to act. We've put the story out in the public domain. That's our responsibility. Now, the moral responsibility lies with Kejriwal.
Let Bharti ji to come and explain that, because many times in the past he has said that I have nothing to do with the...
Well, he lied. He lied because now it is established that that company was registered at his address. And I want to bring Deepak Amin in on what you're making, and you're the alliance partner. You know, you're running the government in some senses together in Delhi. What do you have to say about what we're hearing the Aam Aadmi Party say tonight?
Rahul, just to clarify, we are not running the government together.
Oh, you're the alliance partner?
We are not an alliance partner. We are giving them outside support for the sole reason that they're able to deliver on the manifesto. That is it. Otherwise, we are in the opposition.
And no, but you haven't answered my question.
And I don't understand what the whole debate is about. It's fairly straightforward. You all have done a phenomenal job of finding fairly compelling evidence, and I think the Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal should welcome and initiate a probe and let the law take its course. I don't understand you know, we don't need to go too much more into this. You've given ample evidence.
डॉक्यूमेंट में क्या है ये खुद अपनी आंखों से देखा नहीं, लेकिन ये कह दिया कि डॉक्यूमेंट झूठे हैं। हमने घर पे बैठ के तो बनाए नहीं बिनी साहब डॉक्यूमेंट, आप भी तो इसी पार्टी में हैं।
नहीं, मैं बता रहा हूँ कि जब तक इस पे अरविंद केजरीवाल के साइन नहीं होंगे सारे डॉक्यूमेंट झूठे हैं। अरविंद केजरीवाल के साइन कराने पड़ेंगे, उसके बाद आपको दिखाने पड़ेंगे, उससे पहले
हम केजरीवाल जी के साइन करा रहे थे, उनके सामने वेबसाइट खोल के दिखा रहे थे,
जब तक उनको विश्वास नहीं करने वाले ये लोग।
But there is a much larger problem over here, Madhu, and that problem has to deal with the credibility of the Aam Aadmi Party. Given the standards they've set for others, they now need to live up to those same standards. Otherwise, they will be the laughing stock across amongst those people also who feel for the Aam Aadmi Party.
See, I think they were spoiled too much. That every time they, from morning till evening, they did two things. One, Stuti Gan, songs of their own praise, which the media let them get away with without saying, I mean, without ever asking, what have you done to deserve these Stuti Gans? Second, they ranted and raved about everybody else, called everybody the dirtiest, filthiest names, and again, the media allowed them to get away with it. They've really been spoiled. For the first time, they are being called to account and they are rattled. So they are going to do exactly what you heard this man do, pretend it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Because they are genetically pure. They come from some superior genetically pure race, and no matter what evidence, nothing will stick to them.
No, but I have a very serious problem with this approach, which assumes that they are pristine and pure and everyone else is completely corrupted.
And a ghost call.
But they were allowed to get away with it for last 2 years and a half.
No, they also had good ideas.
Good ideas, I want to know which one.
No, they had plenty of good ideas.
Rhetoric. Mindless.
Anyway, that's a separate debate. I'm not getting into that. You're entitled to your opinion. I disagree, but
they get calls that they quote, right, and which have no evidence, but their evidence is the word of God, and nobody else's evidence has any meaning to it.
You know, I want to go across to Dr. Maninder Singh. He's joining us from Patiala. He's an independent IT cyber crime expert. Dr. Maninder Singh, you've looked at the documents I sent across to you a couple of weeks ago. You've also seen what Ashish has sent to you as one of the country's leading experts in cybercrime. Give our viewers your independent assessment on whether it is adequately proven that Somnath Bharti is the man who ran Topsides LLC, or at the very least was very closely associated with this operation.
Yeah, good evening, Rahul.
Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Yeah. See, whatever the documents I have gone through and I researched on internet, from that whatever the information is available from the resources and archives available on internet, so it's pretty much sure that this particular person is responsible for all this stuff, and the website and everything is under his name. So registry as well as your admin contact, billing contact, and finally your technical contact is this person whose name is there. And all these websites and everything, this doesn't come from a single website. So the whole of the internet has each and every footprint of this Somnath Bharti's name over there. So it is verifiable, and these are not kind of fabricated documents.
I also got responses from people in the Aam Aadmi Party, and I want to get you to vet that claim independently. They're saying that there are people working against the Aam Aadmi Party who are putting this online, that all these documents that you're referring to are all fake, and that there are people working against Somnath Bharti because they've got a grudge against him because he's such an honest man doing such a great job. Therefore, there are people fabricating these documents. What's your independent take on that, sir?
See, independently, frankly speaking, when we go to the internet and find out from the archives of internet, it's not controlled by a particular person. And these registries, these are very independent, and they actually, whatever the contacts are available, these are foolproof contacts. And from there, it already took me 15-20 days in order to come up with this this proposition that whatever the name has been revealed by these documents is pretty authentic. And this is not job of a one or two person, and he cannot go to and fabricate these world archives. It's all, you can say it's all falsified. So unless until information is available in the internet, and this is the information which is available not on a single site, you can just search the footprint throughout the internet.
Okay.
So each and every website speaks about this.
Okay, I've just seen a response coming in from Conrad Longmore. He's the one who looked at the larger international spamming operation. And he's now dug out on Somnath Bharti's website links to porn companies. That's the one that you were showing me as well. So this is just all over the place. On his website, allwebhunt.com, I can open it out. This is a web cache which shows that he was hosting and selling these porn domain names. Kamlesh, what are you making of this?
If you went to Somnath,
let me just show our viewers. Just try and bring this camera in if we can. It says Free India Sex, Arab and Indian sex porn, India Blue, New Indian Babes. Okay, I can't go on. Indian Princess, Calcutta. It goes on. Karma Indians, Indian Dreams. It's got lots of really bad names.
You're still saying they had very good ideas. These are the very good ideas. You will discover one by one, Rahul. It's going to come out. That's a spam party.
It just goes on. It just goes on. So this
is the greatest sales job
and
they've
this
done
is
to us.
okay. One second.
Yeah.
I think a camera is there. I hope you can see this. You know, I hope you can see this. This is hosted on Somnath Bharti on the website of the company that is owned by Somnath Bharti, which is registered at his address. Just take a look at what he's selling. Just some of these names I can't even pronounce on national television. Indian Dreams, Bollywood Sex, About Indian Sex, Indian Jewelry, Forbidden Indian Girls. You get the idea.
Now you know
what I'm
why
trying
he
to
went
say.
prowling that night.
This is the stuff, and the point is that there's a certain amount of investigation that Kamlesh, Ashish and I can put together. There are international experts. He can run, he can't hide, because the thing about the internet is, unlike say some other financial scam where you can hide your footprints, over here your footprints stay.
in November 2003, if you went to somnathbharti.com, his own name website, it said, and it had his photograph at a function with two other people, and it said, if you are interested in talking to me, email me here. But if you, I presume he was single then, but if you are here with matrimonial interest,
yes,
send the girl's CV with full-length photograph to somnath@topsites.com.
No, that might be strange, but I don't want to get into how he was trying to find
the top sites
a woman
and
to get
Madgen were
married.
linked. That
sure,
you should accept.
That is established beyond doubt.
Yeah.
That is established beyond doubt in my view. Now, Arvind Kejriwal has set some standards that he believes he lives by, that he's got people of Delhi especially to buy into. 29% people went out and voted for him. He's got sympathy and support all across in several pockets. The story speaks for itself. I need to say no more. If he hopes to maintain an iota of the credibility that he's tried to establish, Arvind Kejriwal, you need to act, and you need to act now. India is waiting and watching. That's all I have time for tonight. Thank you all very much for joining in. News and updates continue whichever route with India Reports on the other side.